Hey there, this is just a quick video to show you now this Mora Garberg long-awaited full Tang Mora has hit, just to sort of show you what its competitors are and perhaps let you draw a few conclusions about what else is available right now that can pretty much do the same thing, or knives that could do a similar job. Now I acknowledge that a few of these are made for different purposes. Purpose of the Mora Garberg, well, from the literature on the box, they are kind of selling this as a survival knife, not in the spirit of a Fallkniven F1 or something huge like that, but definitely as one of these full Tang companion knives that is for hard work and for being indestructible. So let's have a quick look at some other options, and I'll sort of run up as I come along how much the price is and all that sort of thing, and we'll just sort of show you that for your money, I think at this point, until this RRP comes below $100, I think there's some other options that will do as good a job for a bit less money, and maybe even a better job on some other things. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so the Mora Garberg is like a just over 4-inch full Tang knife with a 3.2-inch spine, sharpened off, and it's got what is really just a plastic handle. It's a hard plastic handle, it's got some grip that's cut into it, and the full Tang goes all the way through the end for pounding and cracking and all that sort of thing. It's made of 14C28 stainless steel, which is probably out of these knives, it's up there with being one of the highest graded stainless steels that you'd find in a fixed blade knife. The problems I had with this knife were that the handle isn't particularly comfortable when doing sort of carving work, and it's not particularly grippy either. It's quite a just a hard, unporous plastic that really doesn't, despite having some detail cut into it, really doesn't grip your hand that well. It doesn't sort of hug back, so to speak. It does carve very well, and the blade does come very sharp, and the spine is very, very sharp for striking ferro rods. It's a light knife that comes with a variable sheath system. However, the belt option is really just this, and that may not be enough for you if you're after a sort of a more robust survival knife or camp companion knife to take along with you. It is sort of aping that old-fashioned Mora thin plastic bushcraft sheath, although this is sort of a leathery, or it's not leather, but it's a leather-like material for the strap. This is the LT Right Genesis. This is a lot more expensive than the Mora Garberg, so this is looking at the upper echelon of what you can get. And what you do get is a very, very sharp Scandi ground knife made of A2 tool steel, which is a very good tool steel that is pretty much well proven through companies like LT Right and Bark River to be really good outdoor steel, as long as you maintain it fairly well. The handle is much more comfortable than the Mora Garberg. It's linen micarta, which provides much more warmth, and the broomstick handle style combined with the much more prominent finger guard does make for a more secure grip. It's obviously still a full Tang knife, as you can see the handle going down, and it is more comfortable to carve and to cut with than the Mora Garberg. It is, however, an extra $70, so that may be more than you're willing to spend. It comes with a leather sheath being the only option, unless you're happy to pay a fair bit more for Kydex. 2 carry options though, with the leather sheath, dangler, or remove the dangler, and just belt sheath. On the lower end, and also from Mora, is the previous Mora sort of outdoor survival type model. This was actually used to be sold with or I think it still is sold with a survival kit, which is a sharpener and a fire starter. And this is their Bushcraft Black, and this was made to be thicker. And the Tang isn't full, it does go to about there in the knife. And as you see, you can batten with this knife, and it does carve just as well as the Garberg knife. Let's get them out together, being that they are from the same brand. Very, very similar sized knives. The Garberg might have a little bit on it in thickness. If it does, it's very, very negligible. This might be 3.1 and this might be 3.2 millimeters. So very, very difficult to see any real difference there. This is a carbon steel knife. This is a stainless steel knife. That may be a deciding factor until they make this one in carbon steel. This one sells in America for about 50 or 60 US dollars. In Australia it sells for getting towards $90. This one in Australia is about $140. These knives, in my opinion, pretty much fulfill the same function, unless you really have the need for the full tang to be showing itself at the end of the blade for you to pound and scrape and knock things with. The handle in the Mora Bushcraft Black is much more comfortable. This is probably the most comfortable fixed blade knife handle I've got. And the sheath is cheaper than the Mora Garberg sheath, but it is very, very effective at just being a clip on and off plastic locking sheath that the knife has never fallen out of, drain hole and all. Good stuff. The next knife is the Gerber Strongarm. And this knife, sort of, I know it's different philosophies behind the design. It is, I acknowledge that. But this does remind me a bit of the Garberg knife. This is when I initially got the Garberg, I thought, oh, it's kind of like Mora's answer to the very high-selling Gerber Strongarm. The blade is a little bit longer in the Strongarm, however the cutting edge is about the same. It's made of 420 HC steel, so a lower quality steel, objectively speaking, for fixed blade knives. However, as I always say with fixed blade knives, some of the best performance I've had is out of the really cheap 4116 cold steel leather neck steel. So I think wood is a different material and it treats blades differently to your fibrous cardboard material. So blade steel I wouldn't put too much down to either of these being better than the other. This is a full tang knife too. The tang goes all over the end instead of more of a tactical seeming, pressure point glass breaker type design there. The handle of the Gerber Strongarm is more comfortable. It is more comfortable to use. There's a few ways you can use it. It feels more comfortable in all those different ways. Sort of rubberized, so it doesn't particularly feel like it's going to come out of your hand as much as this one does, especially when you start doing some light little like chopping type activity with it. The Gerber Strongarm sells for about $50 or $40 US. It's a real good price. Even in Australia it sells for about $80, which is shipped at the moment, which is from Discount Trader on eBay, I think shipped. And whereas this one's $130 or $140 for the leather sheath. And the Gerber Strongarm comes with a multi-mount sheath system as well. So I think that's what's just the theory behind it seems to be quite similar to the Mora Garberg there. And the last knife again is at the upper echelon, so you'll pay more for this knife than for the Mora Garberg. I think in the US you pay about $140 or $150 for a Fallkniven F1. Comes with just a simple type sheath, not too dissimilar from the Garberg sheath actually, except this one has the strap that goes across as well. The Garberg doesn't seem to have any problems with retention. The knife does pull free quite easily from the plastic, but it does feel like it's locked in there securely when you hold the knife upside down. It's gone for that sort of very minimalist, same sort of similar feel. The steel on this knife is probably the best of the stainless steels. This is VG10 at the core with some 420 steel sandwich slabs on the side, so it makes it a very tough knife for a stainless knife. So the core is very sharp, the 420 is very ductile, it makes for a very durable knife. This has been my go-to knife for a couple of years now, and it certainly has put up with a lot for me. The tang does go all the way through to the end. Again, sort of similar in design. I think Mora's looked at knives like this when they've decided to make the Garberg such an overtly tough marketed knife. Really is to appeal to the Western audience, which it seems that we really do seem to want to be able to knock our knives through wood, which I guess you look at us all on YouTube and that's exactly what we're doing. The handle of the Fallkniven F1 is more comfortable than the Mora Garberg as well. It's just got a certain rubberiness to it, and it just fits my hand a little bit better. The squared off sides kind of make it pinch. You don't feel like you're holding onto something as round. I feel like I've got better grip on this knife. So there we have on the table a whole bunch of 4 to 4.5-ish knives, all laid out from the lowest cost to the highest cost. The Mora Garberg is sitting right in the middle. I feel like any of these knives is a good bet for doing your companion type tasks. If you have the money to spend on a handcrafted piece of gear like the LT Wright Genesis, I'd really encourage you to do so. You really do get that level of quality that you do get in the Fallkniven as well, because it's a really high-end factory knife, but you do sort of feel that more mass-produced sense amongst these bottom three here. Failing that, the Fallkniven F1 is an utterly proven knife, very little changed in design for a long time. The Garberg is a good enough knife. I think it's good enough to take with you every day as long as you have a large enough to support it when you're using the larger pieces of wood and doing the larger tasks. The Scandinavian edge carves really, really well, like as good as the Mora and as good as any other Mora you've had. It's just the handle is a little bit slick and the sheath does feel a little bit limited. The Gerber Strongarm is sort of a hybrid tactical outdoor knife, which I really recommend, and I actually had sold mine, but I did feel wanting of it again, so I went and got this black coated one here, and it did come with a complete sheath system, which my first one didn't. I like the Strongarm probably about as much as the Garberg, but on the bottom is the Mora Bushcraft black, which in my opinion does all that the Garberg does in a lighter and cheaper package. It's carbon steel, which more purists would probably recommend anyway. Diamond light coated to prevent rust, although mine's come off through sharpening. And as I said, unless you're really, really bothered about having a full tang, I'd attest to this one's ability to split anyway. So unless you really like having that butt cap to smash stuff with, I wouldn't be too concerned about choosing that one over this one either. So just some thoughts before everyone rushes off and buys Garbergs. Perhaps my gut is telling me to wait till they come down a bit in price at the very least. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll see you later.